Hello, my name is Justin Bright, and welcome to Kerbal Space Program version 1.2.1, where I am attempting to make kerbals a multiplanetary species. In this episode, I have just unlocked about 2,200 science worth of research nodes. So I've gotten some cool scanning technology. I've gotten a bunch more science bits. I completed almost the entirety of the heavier rocketry tier of tech. So what is that? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tier 5, sure. So that's just about finished. I just have some things in supersonic flight and advanced aerodynamics to unlock when I have a little bit more money. So, speaking of money, I have myself a whole bucket of contracts to do, and I'm going to do kind of a crazy compound mission right now to try to knock out a whole bunch of stuff at once. Figured that would be more fun than doing a whole bunch of individual missions. So, first, we are rescuing someone from orbit around Kerbin. Kerbin? I get the weirdest names. So they are in orbit around Kerbin, so that is my first destination. Then we're moving over to the moon, and the vessel that I'll be sending is going to qualify as an orbital station around the moon. So it's going to have docking port, antenna, power generation, 5 Kerbal support, and a scientist on board. So I'm going to pack a scientist along with me on this trip. So then we'll be in orbit around the moon, and I can rescue Machat Kerman from orbit around the moon. After that, and this is going to be definitely the hard part, is I will have a secondary vessel built into this one that is going to transit down to the surface of the moon, grab Jeslyn Kerman and her craft, which is the difficult part, bring that back up into orbit, dock with the mothership, and bring that back home to Kerbin safely, quote unquote, question mark, famous last words. While we're down there on the surface of the moon, we're going to get science data, and we are going to plant a flag. And this is going to get me a ton of cash, hopefully. Oh, and science data around Kerbin as well. So we're doing like 7 missions, something like that. So this should be a lot of fun, and is probably going to go very, very badly. So let's take a look at the vessel that we're going to use to get there. I have what I've lovingly called the Kerbal rescue craft, which is 108 parts, and it's a bit of a monster, using kind of the pinnacle of 2.5 meter technology. So we've got 3 mainsails in kind of a Delta 4 heavy variation, where the outer boosters are transferring their fuel into this central core, and that should hopefully get us just about into low Kerbin orbit. Then this monster second stage with a skipper is going to circularize and get us out over to our first rescue target in Kerbin orbit. Then this whole thing is going to be moving on over to the moon's orbit. And then I have this fun little thing in here, which is going to hopefully safely get down to the surface of the moon, grab that craft, facilitate a flag planting, and head back up into orbit to dock with this, and then this whole thing is going to once again come on home. So good luck to us, I guess. Let's give this a shot. All right, here we have the Kerbal rescue craft sitting large on the pad, and hopefully we will be able to bring Jebediah and Bob out there to accomplish all kinds of crazy things. 3, 2, 1, launch. That is sluggish off the pad. Look at those monster boosters go. So I've done some very basic kind of preliminary testing on these on this ship, and hopefully it will perform at least as well as it did in those tests where I was able to get this thing up. I don't know if I actually have the performance. I haven't done any of the segments or tested any of the segments out on the moon, so that is going to be that's going to be live between you and me, guys. So we are going to see if that works together. And stage separation. You know, for being such a big heavy beast, this thing actually flies fairly well. I have no complaints about the way it turns over and manages to hold prograde. All right, and here we are, just about in orbit with our second stage. We've kicked off our big heavy booster, and now we just have that well, big heavy second stage. And the first step after that is going to be trying to get into contact with our first rescue target. So we're going to be rendezvousing with that. Okay, so we are coming in on our first intercept. Unfortunately, it's in the dark side, but it shouldn't be too long. So in this one, all I really need to do is make sure that we, since I don't have any RCS capability on this big ship, we're just making sure that we get close, because hopefully, the person in the pod is going to be able to just jump right out. I have a solution if they can't, but I'm hoping not to have to use it yet. So let's just burn a little bit radial to our a little bit off vector from our target so that we can push that right down and get a closer intercept. Hopefully that's actually going up a little bit. Oh, I see, it's going off in that direction. This is why it's difficult to maneuver in space relative with two relative objects. In the Gemini missions, the pilots tried to make maneuvers that were intuitive to them, you know, like they would you know, try to move thrust towards somebody to get closer, thrust away from them to get away, just moving in ways that were intuitive to them as pilots. But they didn't make a whole lot of progress because they were actually changing their orbits. And when you make a burn on one side of your orbit, mostly you're changing the exact opposite side and other parameters that are not immediately clear and do not have the effect in the short term that you would expect. So things are not always as intuitive as you'd think. Even the Gemini astronauts didn't think so. So let's just warp in a little bit. Hopefully by the time I reach my target, it will be light. Huzzah. Cool. So we are just 2 minutes away to being dead on target. Let's just get a little bit closer. All right, let's flip over and see what we got. Looks like it's a salamander pod. Wonderful. All right, Jai Kerman, jump on out. And I should be able to match this distance without smashing into anything. Actually, gosh, I hope this thing doesn't go smashing into that... ooh, do a flip. I hope this thing doesn't go smashing into that pod before I can actually get it back under control. Ooh, slow down, slow down. Oops. Okie dokie. Here we are. Beautiful. Let's jump into the lander can. And we're going to call you rescued. And we sail right on by. Perfect. Oh, that went awesome. That went awesome. Let's get moving towards our next target. We have 2,406 meters per second left of delta V, which I'm not 100% sure is going to be enough to accomplish all of our mission objectives. Fortunately, we have a docking port on the front of this, so we can refuel if we need to. And I have a feeling that we're probably going to need more fuel if we want to get back home. But that's not a problem. That's not a bad thing or anything. That's just expanding our mission scope slightly. I've tried to pack quite a lot into this single mission with just one ship, and I have no idea if it's all going to work out the way I want it to. But this should be fun anyways. Let's see. There we are. All right, where are we going? Here, all right, so we have an equatorial shipwreck that we're going to pick up, and then we need down here Jeslin's craft. So that is where we're going to have to get to with our extra vessel. Okay, so let's just change our exit burn to maximize efficiency. Whoops, a little too maximized. Because we're going to want to come right in on this orbit if we can. Just do a little bit more tweaking just to get this as exact as we possibly can. And that looks pretty good. All right, let's execute the burn. All right, here we go, getting ready for the burn. Unfortunately, it's another dark side burn, but you know, you got to do what you got to do as far as orbital mechanics is concerned. They do not care about us YouTubers and wanting, you know, light to see. Whoops, I burned a little too hard there, so let's flip this around and see if I can't correct that trajectory a little tiny bit. And set target, Machat's shipwreck. I'm really hoping that's something that they can jump out of. You know, that's not something that I feel like happens all that frequently, but now that it's happened to me once, now I'm just afraid that it's going to happen every time. All right, our trajectory looks good. Let's get into orbit around the moon. All right, here we go. I have set my intercept with that orbit, my periapsis around the moon, to be pretty darn close to the trajectory that Machat's shipwreck is taking around it. So let's slow it on down and see if I can't get a nice intercept. Oh, there it is. Oh, come on. Give me a break with that. What is your deal? Is it off? Slightly off axis? I feel like it shouldn't be as off as it's making it out to be. And there we are. 0.7 kilometers. It's hard to argue with. 0.5. I don't know if that helps or hurts. 0.4, 0.3, 0.2. 0.2. We're going to go with that. Beautiful. That should be good. Unfortunately, it's another dark side, but we are trying to conserve fuel as much as possible. And hopefully, that's going to be a nice quick, what do you call it? That's going to be a nice quick intercept. Oh, I'm excited to see if this thing works at all. It very well may not. I feel like that expresses my design philosophy in a lot of ways. This would be so cool if it worked. It might not, but it would be really cool if it did. Can I, like, warp to this burn? I don't want to miss it. I want to make sure I don't miss this burn. Let's add an alarm. There. That way I can warp with impunity. Thank you very much, Kerbal alarm clock. We are now sliding in towards the burn time. Going to burn another 229 meters per second of delta V, which is going to bring us down to 1300 actually, which is great, which is actually way more than I need, I think. So let's make this burn. A little bit late, but I think that's fine. I was exulting over my extra delta V. I have no idea what I'm going to be pushing home, however, so we're going to see how that goes. And I'm not sure if my small, I'm not sure if my little sky crane is going to have the fuel it needs to do to accomplish its objectives. Cool, 0.4 kilometer separation. Let's F5 for safety yet again, and check it out. Build a new orbital station around the moon, knocked it out. Rescue Jai Kerbin from orbit, boom boom, got that. Cool, so we are tracking well to our objectives. So let's circle around the moon and take a look at the beautiful landscape as it comes around into the sun. Ah yes, the craters of the moon. Never get sick of it. Alright, let's whip around. Now we are closing. We've got very little intermediate delta V to cancel, which is good. Alright, so we are approaching in 40 seconds, so let's get prepared to make this happen. Here we go, turn the engine on just a little bit to bring this even closer. And 0.0 kilometer target difference in 30 seconds. So we should be coming up upon them very, very soon. Where'd you go? I lost my little reticle. Oh, there we go. I was looking the wrong direction. This is why I hate doing dark side stuff. Gosh darn it. But that's fine. So let's slow it down. We are very close to our target, so we don't need to worry too much about matching. Uh-oh, they refuse to work. I don't know about that. Oh no, this doesn't have... Oh gosh darn it. This does not have a hatch. Okay, so we're gonna have to be creative about this. So let's cancel all of our relative velocity and then come around into the day so that we can actually see what we're doing. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have to deploy my little sky crane a little bit early. So I've F5'd. Ooh. I had that set a little too high, I think. That's fine. All right, so let's decouple and switch to my lander bit. Oops. All right, so let's push ourselves up and out. Beautiful. All right, so this is a nimble little craft that is fueled and flown entirely with monopropellant. And it has on its butt, it has a claw. So I should, in theory, be able to realize that I have not turned on the antenna and I have lost control. Where is the antenna? I know I have one. There it is. Okay, hold on a second. This is why you save first. Okay, now before I disconnect this, I am going to extend this antenna, which should, in theory, be enough to reach back to Kerbin, even from here. So let's just phase through there. That's very nice. All Alright, activate these 4 engines. Not that I think I'm going to need them for this particular operation. And let's extend our solar panels as well. So we are going to target Machat's shipwreck. I am going to arm this and control it from here. And I am going to lose control again. Do I just not have signal from here? What's going on? Have I lost signal? I think I've just lost signal from Kerbin. Well, let's see. If I were to go all the way around, could I get signal again? Now this is my fault entirely for not having set up a comm network for the moon before attempting any kind of unmanned operations. That is my fault entirely. There we go. A little bit of lag and jitter as we get back in, but now we are ready to roll. And luckily things stayed relatively close, so we are just moving on, moving on. So remember my talk about not being able to thrust directly towards a thing. That's exactly what's happening here again. I'm adjusting my orbit, but that's not where it is. I was thrusting directly towards the thing, but that doesn't actually help in this particular circumstance. So I have to point a little bit off, and so that the orbits match up all the way over here. So now I have a 0.0 intercept in 6 minutes. So let's try to speed that up a little bit so that I don't do it in the dark, hopefully. There we go. 90 seconds. We'll be a little bit closer anyways. Little bit closer, little bit closer. There we go. Now, once you get to a certain amount of proximity, you can generally, things generally behave in a way that is more intuitive to humans, which is to say, what's happening, kind of makes sense. You can thrust towards something and actually make progress in that direction. Ooh, flip around, waste all that monoprop. Cool. Where am I? There we are. All right, we are making progress now. So my hope here is to see if this works the way I want it to, and then hopefully I can still transfer crew. Even though I think because of life support issues, he has turned into a. Whoops, pushing on down now. Come on. Bonk. What are you doing? Alright, so I'm going to cheat a little bit and stop that rotation. We're going to point directly at the thing. Fix my velocity and then move towards it at a 1.5 kilometer or meter per second clip. So hopefully the claw engages. Gotcha. Alright, now hopefully, I am going to be able to transfer this person out. That is my fervent desire. Where is broken? Where did they go? Did they die? Machat, did you die? Machat may have died. That doesn't seem right. I think I'm going to have to crack open the save file, reload my game, and do some investigation, but we're all out of time for now, so I'll see you in the next episode.